Ever wonder what the dog in your life is thinking? Well, join me, Liz Murdoch, Animal Communicator, talking with the dogs and finding out what dogs want people in their lives to know and understand. I've spent my life talking and listening to animals. So, if you consider yourself a dog person or just happen to have a dog, I'm here to help you learn how to talk or listen to the dogs in your life.
He passed the message. Thank you again. And then what happened, Daniel?
Well, then things kind of went quiet. I got a message from Erica that they were searching. I logged out of Facebook for a couple days, and so I just kind of you and I did not communicate.
No.
I didn't really have any more communication with Erica. I had this text that came in that I didn't reply to, and I was feeling like I need to get back to her, but I don't really have any new information. So I think maybe 2 days, maybe 3 days went past at the most. And I check my Facebook.
2 days.
2 days. And there's a notification that I've been tagged in a post by Erica. And it's got like the little preview picture and it's got Disco in her lap. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I open the post and Disco's reunited with her. And I'm like, wow. So I call her. I'm like, he's in your lap. Give me the rundown on that. And I was like, sorry for not getting back to you. But yeah, things had just kind of went quiet. The next thing I know, there's Disco in her lap on Facebook. I was like, he's back. And so I can kind of go right into that, or we can go to Erica.
Erica, tell us what happened. Because I hadn't heard anything from Daniel. And I'm like, I kept envisioning this little guy like zooting around to get to safety. So I kept expecting that he would be found. And what happened, Erica?
For one, what you guys were saying about sharing on social media. So I think the night it happened, I shared on Instagram, which I was very hesitant to do. And it took me an entire additional day.
And why were you hesitant?
Because I've seen people with lost dogs, and I'll see people just immediately say, oh, I'm so sorry. This is so sad. This is terrible. This happened. I didn't want that energy on it.
Right.
And you know what? People were asking me on IG, post it on Facebook so we can share it. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to ask people to just make positive comments when they respond.
Oh, that's good.
And so when I put up the post, I just asked people to just send, positive feedback. Like, hey, I know you'll find them, whatever. And most, like 99.9% respected my wishes. So, and I believe that's a part of it too, because the very next day I found them. After I put it on Facebook and
wow. That's a great example of Facebook for good and the power of positive intentions.
Yeah, and they proved me wrong that most people, respected my wishes and were very positive. One of my many lessons in that too. And so the second day, went out with a friend, posted flyers, was looking for him, was visualizing him like running up to me, all of that. I think what I had the biggest challenge with is when I think you told me if I was going to have him meet me somewhere, I needed to stay still for him to meet me there. And that felt impossible. Cause like when I woke up, like I'm ready to go and look and move. And that part was so difficult. So my version of sitting still was like looking at this one spot, telling him to meet me there, sitting there for 15 minutes, and then going and looking somewhere else.
Okay.
I would still look in that area, but I wouldn't stay in one spot. Then I saw a dog that looked similar to Disco that like was up the street. I'm like, wait. And I ran and it was another lost dog. It wasn't Disco. Clearly belonged to someone. The dog had a harness on, and the dog ran from me. I actually started looking for this dog. I'm like, there's no way I can be out here looking for my dog, see someone else's dog lost, and just ignore it.
Right.
But the dog ran from me. I probably spent an hour looking for that dog before I gave up. And then fast forward to, let's see, was that Monday or Sunday? That was Sunday. Is it Monday? That was Sunday.
So that was the day before he was found.
No,
2 days went by.
It's 3 days. So
Sunday, from the first day. Yeah.
Saturday he came up missing. He was found on Tuesday. So that day was Sunday.
Okay.
And it was also raining. Oh, so another thing I wanted to mention that I also did, that I don't know if anyone told me to do this, but I was just doing it. I was finding things to be grateful for. So it wasn't super cold outside. It wasn't super hot. And I was expressing gratitude for that if he was outside, I knew it was in conditions that he could survive. I was expressing gratitude for the fact that daylight savings came in when I forget his right now, but that it stayed light out longer. So I had more time to look for him in the daylight. So I was just finding anything to be grateful for as well. Day 3, like Sunday and then Monday. Monday was the day that I found out where the car was left. And we immediately went to that address to look for him. And that's when it really started to get hot, because people started telling me that I saw this dog. And I just took that as a good sign.
Yeah.
And people were very motivated to find him. There was this one little boy that was like, oh my God, I'm going to find this dog. I'm going to take this $500 and buy my game system I want. Like,
oh my gosh.
And I saw him. I hadn't met the little boy. I saw him and went to give his mom a flyer. And I'm like, oh, this is for disco? My mom had already given him a flyer.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Good. And then this one guy I saw, he said, I think I saw this dog. Said he hops on his back right leg, right? Well, when Disco gets really excited, he's moving fast, he skips on his back right leg. That's when I knew.
Yeah.
For sure they saw Disco.
Good.
And so fast forward to the good part, the end of that night, going into the morning that he was found. So if you remember, I told you like every night about 8:30,
you got tired.
Yes. This particular night was the first night where I wasn't wiped out. I went to bed feeling good, because I would feel good and positive and be motivated throughout the day. And then at the end of the night is where I really had to work on keeping that positive energy and not getting like severely depressed.
Yeah.
I had to really work on that. But that night, for some reason, I went to bed feeling good. I can't even explain it, but it was just a different feeling. I got up that morning just feeling good. I had taken pieces of my clothes and ripped them up, and I was going to leave a trail for him. All of that. Before I could even get out the door, I got a call, text, email, your dog has been found. And it was, he found a person to help him, like you said.
Good.
The day he was lost, which I'm so grateful that he didn't have to be out in the street overnight. So, and it was maybe not even 10 minutes driving from where the car was abandoned. He went down in the woman's like stairway to her basement. And she said he was just standing there shaking for 3-4 hours, and her daughters begged her to let him in. And so they let him in, got very attached very quickly. That Monday, it gets a little blurry for me, because I think they said something about going in Monday, but this was Tuesday. They took him to the vet to get him checked out. And when they did, of course, the vet scanned him, and the microchip came up.
So your microchip was current. Have you ever moved and had to call and update your microchip?
I did everything online. So when I got,
you have in the past. I just want to make a point to people, because a lot of times dogs are scanned and they have old addresses. So I'm wondering, have you ever had to update my Disco's chip?
I've had the same phone number for almost 20 years.
Okay.
So I
put that
phone number in when I first got him. It remained. One of the things I did that I didn't know that you are supposed to do with the microchip is I reported him lost. I didn't know that I can't even remember who told me to do that.
That's good advice. It's good advice for all our listeners.
I think I went to log in to update the alternate contact numbers, my friend's contact number that I knew changed. Just double checking everything. And I think that's when I found out you're supposed to report them lost. And so I did that and just made sure everything was current.
So I'm going to let listeners know that if you have a chip, the next time you go to the vet, your vet can scan it, because there are different chip companies there are different chip companies, so that you want to make sure that you have the current phone number for the chip that your animal has, and that you can have that handy if your dog ever disappears, because there are so many dogs that end up in shelters and then adopted and hopefully not euthanized because chips were outdated.
Yeah.
So here's a good lesson from Disco and Erica, that all of us want to make sure we know the phone number for the chip on the dog. And if we have multiple dogs, our dogs might have different chips from different companies. So
yeah, I worked on a case like that, Liz, where a friend of mine had their dog go missing. The polar vortex, and I drove around looking for him, and his chip was registered to the owner previous to my friend. So when he was taken to a vet's office, they called someone who had not had this dog for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
So to your point, the chip was not up to date with the current owner, and so this person thought they were getting their dog back after 5 years, and the dog was almost given to the wrong person.
Yeah. So that's important. Okay, so thank you, both of you.
And just to add, if for some reason a person does forget to update it, just call immediately when your dog goes missing. You can call them, they can help you with that. I typed in the name of the microchip company in my email, because I knew I had at least one email from them with the microchip number.
Yeah.
The only thing is, I'm pretty sure if you remember the last phone number that was registered or what have you, that they can pull the information that way. But if you never register the microchip, then you absolutely have to have the microchip number.
Yeah. But a vet can help you find it. But that's something everyone can do now. Okay, so they scanned, they found it. You got a call from the vet?
Yes, I got a call from the vet. No, I got an automated call from the microchip company.
Oh, okay.
And I also received a text from them, as well as an email. And then the 2 other contacts that were listed did as well.
Okay.
And, I called them back immediately, and they gave me a number. They said that the person that had my dog was okay with me contacting them directly. And they gave me the number to the vet, as well as the number to the person that had my dog.
Okay.
The only thing I would say, like, if someone is in that situation, that I think maybe should have went differently, even though I was very fortunate that this woman, was honest, is that they gave the dog back to that person to bring to me.
Yeah, that's sort of surprising.
Yeah. And so, because she said, "Oh, I can come to you." I said, "No, just stay where you are. I'm on my way." And I'm thinking he's going to stay with the vet. And when I got there, the vet was like, "Oh, she didn't bring him to you?" And I said, "No, I said I was on my way here." And so the woman was actually sitting in the car waiting for us. Thank God.
Yeah.
But she didn't know he was microchipped. When she brought him in, she was bringing him in for an exam.
So she was going to keep him.
Yeah. And in all fairness to her,
right,
he was in the car, and I would take his tag off, his collar off in the car and put it back on when we would get out the car for 2 reasons. My vet said his tag was too heavy for him. And so I was working on replacing the tag, so I only kept it on him when I needed to. And 2, I was just always paranoid about it getting hooked on something.
Right.
So he didn't, I'm sure he didn't have his collar on, because I would take it off when we were in the car and put it on right before we got out the car. So I don't think she was trying to be deceptive.
Yeah.
In the area she's in, there's stray dogs that people unfortunately are not looking for. And he didn't have a collar.
It's hard to know the difference, right? No, it all worked out. It was nice that she gave him back and that she wanted to get him checked out. But you're right. And it is hard. People find dogs. I'm in Los Angeles and find stray dogs, and they want to keep them, and they're afraid because the shelters have a reputation often throughout the year. They get overloaded. So people are afraid when they find a dog to take it to the shelter that it won't have a happy ending story. And so it's like, it's a catch-22, but having a chip with a current update can solve with current updated information, it can solve a lot of issues.
And so my advice, if someone goes through that process and they're fortunate enough where someone reaches out, the vet reaches out, to just ask the vet specifically, can you hold my my pet, my dog, my cat, until I get there to pick them up. I'd rather pick them up directly from the veterinarian.
Right.
I don't know if that's a common practice or not, but I'm just saying it because if I would have known that, I would have asked them to hold on to Disco.
Well, in a way, it seems like it should just be standard procedure for all lost dogs that have a chip. They stay with the person who at the vet's office,
right?
Or
And to your
whoever
point,
scanned it.
in the situation that I experienced too, this older gentleman took the dog in. It got scanned to this previous owner, but they let him leave. He was walking the dog on the street after having left the vet's office, and I saw him and said, "Hey, that's my friend's dog." And he said, "Oh, you mean this person's name?" And I said, "No, this person's name." He said, "Well, I spoke to this person, and they said that's their dog because that was the previous owner." And I called my friend and said, "Show up here now." But to your point, they let that dog leave the vet's office with the person who was not the chipped owner, and it went kind of back into the night, off into the potential reunited or not reunited. So thankfully, there was a happy ending. To your point, though,
Yeah. In defense of the vets, I want to just put a plug because I know vets get overloaded. I have another dog who was left at a vet and the girl never came back. So so I can see why vets are like, here, you take the dog. So it's a tricky situation. And again, that's why I love working with Daniel and meeting new people like Erica, because the more we can have this dog community supporting each other, the better for all of us, because we have to support the dogs and people taking care of their dogs. So Erica, I want to go back to something about how you practice the gratitude. I did not advise you to do that, but what I did advise was staying calm and positive. And I love how you took it to do something that was good for you and that resonated. And that's what I like about animal communication and talking to dogs, is that the dogs can give me information or I can have a sense, but as we talked earlier, it really comes down to the relationship between the dog and the person and what you do with information intuitively or, logistically in your house, is that it's up to what works best for you and your dog and creating the best connection. So I encourage you to keep doing things like gratitude. I love gratitude, but whatever really makes a difference for you and your dog. So, and that's for everybody.
Another thing that I was doing, and I practiced meditation, but while Disco was gone, the meditation was all about Disco. And so I made sure I wasn't as disciplined with this before this happened, but while I was looking for him, I made sure that when I went to sleep at night, it was with me meditating, visualizing us either being reunited or him being right there next to me, because I wanted to be on that frequency as I went to sleep for however many hours. And even as I'm rushing out the door to look for him in the mornings, I would still pause in the car, for me personally, burn some sage, meditate and visualize him. And I had a bowl in the car for him. I kept food in the car for him because I was prepared to pick him up that day. So I just tried my best to make sure my actions resembled me having him that day.
That's good. So now that you got him back, did he seem highly stressed? How did he seem?
Definitely his behavior is different in the car. Disco is normally with me 99.9% of the time. I mean, we traveled all around the country in that car together and always with me. But now, and of course, I'm dealing with my own paranoia as well. But something as simple as me stepping out of the car to put my card in the to pump gas. And he would be shaking and freaking out, where normally he's just in his bed like, okay, we're just riding, doing our thing. That part, I noticed a difference. Outside of that, I just felt relief. He was in my lap a lot and staring at me a lot and just relieved and happy to be back. I know that he loves being outside. So, and going on his walks. So I tripled our walk time. And we are normally out for an hour to 2 hours. And we were doing 3-hour walks. But the time was flying by. I didn't even realize it was that long. What else in terms of difference? I think that's it. There were a few crazy things that happened. Like he had a mohawk going down his back, and his mohawk he smelled like smoke. My car was torched, it was burned.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he smelled like smoke. And when I went to give him a bath, when he came back, after the smoke smell went away, I noticed where his mohawk was gone, it smelled like burnt hair. I don't know how this happened and he wasn't harmed, but it was like the hair is
Singed.
yes.
So he could have been in the car and got out.
Yeah, I thought about that when you said he darted.
I kept seeing a door. I think I said that to Daniel. He needs to get out and
Yeah.
find.
And so my friend who I reached out to is an intuitive, and the day that he went missing, I just called her just for comfort, and she immediately started tapping in. And one of the things she said, she used the word scrappy like you. She said your exact words. She said he's a scrappy dog. I thought about that when you said it. But the other thing she said was, while I was riding and talking to her in the car, because she was with me like the whole time looking for him. And she said, what is that smell? She said, it smells like smoke. And I never in a million years thought the car was burning. But I guess that was what
So did someone just steal the car and set it on fire?
I think they definitely took things out of it because they tried to charge my credit cards. It didn't work. So I'm sure they took what they wanted to take and then torched the car.
Wow. Well, yeah, the first thing I said is he needs to get out and he needs to know where to go. So we'll just focus that he did what he was supposed to do and he's safe. And someone did take him for help. They may not have realized that it was to get him help to scan a chip, but that's exactly what happened and it needed to happen. So
yeah, he did exactly what you said he was going to do. And the great thing about it is he did it the day it happened. So he didn't spend one night outdoors. Like she found him that evening.
He went to someone. I think I said to Daniel, he needs to pick the right person. He needs to pick someone he's safe with.
Oh, they loved him. The daughter cried the entire time. I was conflicted because I'm so happy and this little girl is so distraught because they're thinking we're taking him for an exam. She never expected that he would be taken away from her. However, I explained to them there's so many dogs in shelters that need homes. And, everything happens for a reason. So I've been helping them with finding a rescue. I send them photos like every day of dogs. She wants a dog that looks like Disco. So I've been I send a few that don't because, realize you can fall in love with any pooch. But I also send them some that look like Disco.
So maybe, go on, Daniel.
The first dog that she found that looked just like Disco, his name was Sir Charles, and Charles is my last name.
Oh, that's funny.
And someone posted that dog on my Facebook post asking if this was Disco.
Wow.
So, yes.
She'll find her. How old is she?
So the little girl is 7, and then her older daughter is, I think, like 12. And it's her and her mom.
All right. Well, when they get their dog, I'd love to have them on the show and talk about how it turned around for them. That would be fun.
Right?
Talk with their puppy. Yes. So it's see how the community grows, and there's so many lessons. And that little girl will remember forever. She found a dog, and that's what led to her own dog, and who knows what else. Well, I want to thank you for sharing this story. It's taken a lot of time, but let's see if he has anything to say now.
Well, he is like super calm.
That's fine. I can still tune in. Daniel knows it's fine. I can see Disco. Can I see his? I'd like the audience to see too. Anyone watching the video? Hello, Disco. What a lucky guy. And you look good. You didn't like he was by the smoke. I can tell he couldn't breathe. I get a feeling like it was harder. Have you noticed him sneezing at all when he came back?
I didn't want to interrupt you. I was going to say that I noticed he was snoring for the first 5 days he was back, and I associated it with the smoke too.
Yeah.
He hasn't snored since I first got him. And so usually there's some type of irritant if he's snoring at night.
I got that right away. I felt like he needed to clean his nasal passages. They were clogged from the smoke. He didn't like that. I hear him saying it was hard to breathe, and it was sort of like a choking kind of gasping. that he may have had, but he's better. Like, I feel like it's clear, like oxygen can go through airflow better. So I got that sense. He is tired. He's relaxed. He is very relaxed, and oh gosh, we could do a whole nother time, but I know I need to wrap up, but if there's anything you can share, Disco, about your experience, or for Erica that you'd like people to know. I see you. I see you blinking at me. What is it, Disco, that we can tell people? He says that he really likes being home. It's like there's no place like home, is the sense that I get from, and it's funny, he does look like Dorothy's dog a little bit. There's no place like home, and that when people find a dog and they think it's so cute and it needs a home, it's really important for the dog's best interest to see if you can help it find its home going the right route. And as much as you might want to keep it, the dogs do, if they have unfinished business at home, sometimes dogs do need to be in situations where they're rehomed, but Disco likes being at home. It's like with his mama, and he just wants people to know that a dog belongs at its home until it's time not to be there. And it was time for him to stay home. He really values being with you, Erica. And is there anything else? He's such a sweetheart. No, I'm watching the time, and this was a story on the lost dog. So I'm open to talking to you later. But for the audience, I mean, he's happy to be home, and his main thing is he's glad that you didn't give up and you didn't let people convince you of otherwise, or go down that cycle of staying in bed with a pillow under your head, grieving a dog that you thought you're never going to get back, and that you did the right steps and that he was able to connect with you. So does anyone have any questions or want to add anything? Either one of you.
I didn't know if you were taking comments on the live. That's why I asked. I didn't know if you were asking the audience.
No, I'm asking you.
The one thing that I would share is I completely understand the challenge in trying to stay positive, in that it's okay to have some moments. You know, I definitely have my moments, but I did not allow them to last for long. And it was very important for me to just have the positive outweigh the bad. Lots of breathing, and I don't know if this is because I'm not in someone else's shoes. I don't know how easy this is for other people, but for me, I was visualizing the reunion so deeply that I literally was crying tears of joy. There were tears. It was ironic that I wasn't really crying when I got reunited with him. I was so happy, but in the visualization, I was like crying tears of joy. I felt it that much. I don't know if people have to get to that level, but whatever works for you to keep you in a positive space the majority of the time, and just understanding that what you think is more important than what anyone else thinks. The positive energy is great, but that's it. Just really staying positive, because like you said, you naturally kind of want to, but that just wasn't an option for me. I felt better getting out looking for him.
Yeah. How about you, Daniel?
I think it's just a beautiful reminder about, just having a positive intention and holding the idea in your head, and then believing and attaching the feeling to it. And just realizing that, we can create whatever outcome we want, just by visualizing it and believing it and staying positive, and staying centered and present too. And so that's what dogs are always reminding us of, is to be present and be in the moment. And you can't really worry about the future because you don't know what's going to happen, and it's beyond our control. And so I think it's just the lesson that I got from this experience with Disco was to just stay present and visualize what you want to see. And so, I was just really honored to be a part of the story and to just bring you into it, and to have this whole awesome just collaboration of support and guidance, and just a happy ending as well. So I'm just thrilled to be a part of it.
Thank you. Yes. And I go on, Erica.
No, I just had to end on saying, like I struggle with trying to articulate the level of gratitude for you, Dan, like the people that just help calm me. I wanted to just throw this out there really quick. I went on Facebook to look on CACC Facebook page, and also post on there about disco. And for some
what is
reason,
CACC?
oh, I'm sorry, Chicago Animal Care and Control.
The local
Okay.
shelter.
Yes,
Okay.
that's the pound where stray dogs would go.
Okay.
So for some reason, my brain typed in Dan, and he came up. And CDCACCDAN. I don't think those are very close, but my brain typed in Dan. And when he came up, my spirit said, call him. And so I just stopped the CACC thing and called him.
Wow.
So I'm just extremely thankful for you guys. You didn't even know us and understood like the sense of urgency for me.
Yeah.
Out immediately just was huge for me.
Yeah.
Listening to Dan's voicemail, I just want to hug him. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you both.
You're welcome. I love how Disco's all perked up. He's done. He is so proud of all of this. He knows we're done. My dogs are going to get up in a minute. So we'll just be in touch. I'm so glad for all of you. And I like all the lessons as you started off that many of us can take in our dogs with dog training. It's the exact same thing, how our intentions make such a difference.
Yeah.
So if you have questions about dog training, especially in the Chicago area, but you work all over with people, Daniel.
I'm global.
Yeah. So people can find Daniel. Daniel's great. He's very intuitive and gentle with the people. I've been on calls with him. I've heard him talk to clients. So if you're looking with someone who can nurture your relationship as a dog trainer, which I am not a dog trainer, Daniel's a dog trainer and can help you with your relationship and building. And if you haven't been consistent on practicing, he will give you some grace on that and give you tools, etc. But thank you for joining us. And we just wish Erica and Disco the very best.
Thanks,
Liz.
Thank you.
You're welcome.